All right, folks, what is going on? This is episode number 42 of the BF Cast. I am VF Baller, and this episode is going to be pretty interesting. I think there's a lot to talk about, a lot of things I want to unpack about my gaming habits once again, because I always talk about gaming and my gaming habits and how I think it should be implemented to others. Not to tell people how to game, but I do give some advice on that on that level. So hopefully you guys will take the time to listen to this episode and let me know what you guys think. Also, I want to thank you guys, the ones who have been, subscribing lately. Small uptick in the channel. It's not not a very big channel, but we're growing, and it's all thanks to you guys and everybody who's been watching the content. I really, really appreciate it. It's actually pretty awesome, for this to be, my secondary channel, something I want to do. Talk about my hobby as far as gaming, and people are actually listening and not just just scrolling by or whatever the case may be. They actually decide to subscribe to the channel. It's pretty cool. So I got two topics I want to talk about. I want to let people know why I dropped the current Xbox brand. I don't know if you guys noticed. I don't have my Xbox Series S anymore. I do have the box. I mean, you probably still see the box back here. I still have the box because I think I think collecting boxes is actually pretty cool for the aesthetics and the look of the room or whatever. But I don't have the console anymore. I'm gonna talk about that, why I don't. And I also want to talk about CD Projekt Red, why they don't have their pretty much more than half of their staff anymore. Pretty much everybody's left to go to other places. I want to talk about that and how and why does that affect that company, and just give my thoughts and opinions on what's going to happen to that company, because that's pretty devastating. You lose that many staff members based on where you were when The Witcher 3 was around, and then the whole debacle with Cyberpunk 2077, and now they're talking about going forward, and I'm like, okay, it's gonna be interesting to see how that goes, because we're just gonna talk about that in a few. First and foremost, let's get into this Xbox brand thing and why I dropped it. That was my first next generation console, and actually I was all in on the Xbox brand when the next gen consoles came out. I wasn't too big on the PlayStation 5. I just wasn't. I felt like the PlayStation 5 was okay when it was first released, and the fact that I felt like Xbox learned their lesson from what happened with the Xbox One. I thought it was going to bounce back similar to like what they did with 360 and actually start coming out with games and pushing that Xbox 360 whole angle of gaming again. Because when the 360 came out, it was really about the mistakes. I ain't gonna say the mistakes, but I guess you could say the mistakes that was made with the original Xbox, and they ramped up on them loving and being passionate about games. And I'm not saying that they're not now, because I think they're really huge on the world of gaming now with Phil Spencer and everything, but I don't like the way they went about it. I don't like the way this whole Game Pass thing is going. I still believe it's one of the best deals in gaming, hands down. But when I start looking at the total picture of gaming and where I am in gaming, when I look at what I have as far as let's say my collection, and me just like to have games, and it's not just physical copies but digital copies, because I've grown to liking to having digital versions of games. One of the reasons why I did pick up one of these, if you don't know what this is, PS2 MC2 SIL. I'm probably gonna do a video about this sometime down the road. I really want to get this up and running, but I don't mind having digital copies of games. No different than me having digital copies of my CDs or what I mean, like music or whatever the case may be. So as long as I know I own it, as long as I know I own the copies of the games, or it's nothing that can be taken away through licenses or expired stuff, and that's where the Xbox brand comes in. Like, Game Pass is basically a place where you can try games out, and if you like it, you can play it and be done with it. I think it's excuse me. I think it's fantastic for that. I don't have any issue with that. But my thing is, once I get a game and I like it, and I want to continue to keep it in, basically, I basically want to keep it and actually own it. Especially if I tend to grow an attachment to games that I like. Now, and I know that's kind of crazy to some people, because some people just like, they play a game, they like the game, to get rid of the game, and they want to, in some cases, debate about the game with other people. I like to get the games and keep them. The games that I like, even some games I don't like, I try to, I hold on to them for a little while. But if there's games that I just don't care for, I just don't, I won't even try to. Or if I find out I don't like it, I'll just get rid of it. But for the most part, if I'm already getting to the point where I'm playing the game for, a couple of hours, there's a high chance that I like the game and I want to keep the game. And my whole thing behind that is, uh Xbox, the Xbox brand, I just don't feel that you can own a game at this point. They still haven't addressed anything with the CMOS battery thing, because I've heard they had that issue too. PlayStation and Sony has addressed that issue, and I love the fact that they addressed that issue. PS5 do not have that issue. If you put a game in, albeit, patches or whatever the case may be, that's a different story for another day. You will always be able to play your games no matter what happens to the CMOS battery. PS5 and PS4. PS3, I think it still has a CMOS battery issue, but at the same time, I feel that the PS3, there's other ways around the PlayStation 3 to play your games and keep your games. And I'm pretty sure you know what I mean by that. So, I know I just did a video on the PlayStation 3 and what expires and what don't. I just did a video on that. Oh, as a matter of fact, that was the last episode that we did on the VFcast. I feel that push come to shove, I don't think I'll be locked out of the games that I purchased on the PS3. Now, the Xbox 360, I think that I have to look into some more research in that. I haven't checked it yet, but I'm not dropping the 360. The current Xbox brand basically is from Xbox One on up. I just don't have any desire to collect for it. I have no desire to, have the systems. I just don't. I mean, I don't even think about physical copies of games when it comes to the Xbox Series or Xbox One anymore. Now the 360, I mean, I think, it's something about the 360 that I really, really like. I just purchased this game recently, and I've been putting it off. And this is a game called 99 Nights. It's kind of like a hack and slash RPG. I think this game is pretty cool. I've heard it, you know, I've heard it like all over the place. People telling me about it. And I think it's an Xbox 360 exclusive. Um, I want those type of games, and those type of games I know for certain that I want. Those games are going to be mine to play no matter what. I can take the console offline. I'll be straight, no problem. There's still no guarantee with the Xbox if that's the case, or Xbox One or Xbox Series, or definitely Xbox Series S. I don't know. That's an all digital console. I don't even know what may happen if I was decide to take it offline. I'm not even going to. I didn't even want to attempt to try. I was always kind of skeptical of, discless or, digital only consoles. I don't know. It's just because there's no control for the consumer. I feel that way. I always feel like it should be, kind of like a give and take, or it should have an option with the disc. Even though, like I said, I am a big proponent of starting to have digital only digital games, not digital only consoles, but digital games, as long as I know they're mine. I have no idea what may happen if something was to happen to the Xbox Series S or the X, if something was to happen. If things change, even if things change, I think that I'm content with not worrying about the Xbox brand at this point. if I want to play any of the games, I'll play them on PC. Um, like say for instance, I have Forza 7 on PC. I'm okay with that. And the thing about PC, uh, I'm almost certain that you get to keep those games. There's nothing between you and the play in the PC that something may happen. Like even if the games that are on Steam, Steam already said it. Push come to shove, you're going to keep your games. They're not going to lock your games outside of a or whatever issue may happen. So ever since the CMOS battery thing started and people talking about it, a year or so ago, Steam already came out and said, "Hey, if push comes to shove, we're going to give you your stuff. We're going to give you the games that you purchase." I hope PlayStation start looking into that on a PS3. I know on the PS4, for the most part, I think you get to keep everything you have, in the PS5 as well. So you're not going to be locked out of any games. I guess if there is a licensing issue, I think that's something that's going to be addressed as well. I don't know, because the licensing thing is something that I think that's a totally different issue. But I think for the most part that has been addressed, and you can put your disc in, and or you can play your digital games. And even if push come to shove, there's ways to get around that and get your digital games to work. And I think we all know how that goes. But when it comes to the Xbox, and I don't think the Xbox is a bad brand. I don't think there's nothing wrong with it. I just feel that there's nothing there for me anymore. There's absolutely nothing there on that side anymore, that I need the console at this point. Like I said, the Microsoft Store is here. I think Killer Instinct is amazing. The Halo series, I've always been a fan of that. I have 1 through 4 on the 360. So if I really wanted to, well, I take that back. I got 1 and 2 on the original Xbox, 3 and 4 on the on the 360. Halo 5 is on PC. Now I think Halo 5 is not on PC. I take that back. I think that might be the only game I would probably want to play on. Yeah, I think that may be the only game I would want to play on the console, because I don't think Halo 5, which a lot of people don't too much care for, but I think Halo 5 is like the only game that I may want to play that's on the actual console. That's on Xbox One. That's kind of weird. I wonder how that's going to play out if I was decide to, I don't know. That may be like the only game. But like Halo Infinite is on PC now. You know what I mean? So it's like I don't need the console. I'm not even really sure how I feel about Halo 5 now. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Like maybe one day I'll think about it. I may revisit that one particular game, because I do want to. I haven't played it yet, and I may want to go back and do that. But outside of that, I just don't see anything else that I really want to play on the Xbox brand. And like I said, at the end of the day, I know people gonna sit here and think I'm a hater. It's not a knock on Xbox in general. I still get the games for the 360. I highly recommend you to get games for the 360 at this point, because of the collecting side of things, and the original Xbox. I mean, everything that's over there, with the exception of the last 2 rows, all those are original Xbox games. And I think I'm to the point now I don't need to get any more original Xbox games. There are probably about 3 more games I want to get on the original Xbox, maybe 4. And I mean, as of right now, I have about 450 original Xbox games. So there's like no reason for me to, what I'm saying? I just don't see a reason for me to purchase any more of those games, because I got pretty much every game that I want on the original Xbox. Speaking of that, the original Xbox, I purchased me another controller because yeah, and I guess I needed another one. I don't know. I know the one that I bought like that is broken now, but I have like 3 or 4 of them that act like don't want to work, so I needed another one anyway. But I think I'm good with the original Xbox 360. The PlayStation 5, which is also over there, you can see right here where my finger is. That's the PS5 right there. If you're looking at the bottom screen, with my finger, that console is amazing. I really, I thought that I thought the Xbox One. I mean, I'm sorry. I thought the Xbox Series was going to be the console I felt that way about. But nah, the PS5 is that console is great, and I'm really happy I got it. And I'm not saying that the other console, the Xbox One, I keep calling it Xbox One. I don't think the Xbox Series is bad. I think it's a great console as well. It's just not for me. I'm just looking at the games on there. I'm like, yeah, no, I don't know. So with me and all this collecting, I don't see myself going forward with the Xbox. I do. I do need to get a Nintendo Switch. I keep saying that, but I may pass on that for their next console. I may wait to see what they come out with it, because you got to think about it. It's been 5 years since Nintendo dropped the Switch. I think it's a good time to start looking into what they're going to do next. And based on what they do next is probably what I'm going to do with that whole situation. And that's another episode for another day. I think I'm gonna make another video about that in general, because I kept putting off the Switch for so long, and now I'm looking at it like, it's 5 years I kept putting it off. I may need to just wait until see what they're gonna do next, because this generation of consoles, it's still up and running for the Xbox One. I mean, I keep calling it the One, the Xbox Series and the PS5. It just started, but the Switch is kind of like in between. So, but after 5 years, they may want to. I don't know. They may want to look into doing something new. I don't know. It depends on if they don't. That may be another reason if I just go ahead and get the Switch. If I find out that it's going to be like 3 years until they put out another console, I may look into. I may look into that whole situation another time. I don't want to. I tend to ramble about stuff. I may do a video on that, a whole video, whole another episode of that. All right. I think I covered enough into that. Let's talk about CD Projekt Red before I get out of here. CD Projekt Red has so many problems when it comes to Cyberpunk 2077. Situation what's going on with the new Witcher game that's under development. They're going to use another engine. They're not using the Red engine anymore, which I thought was a pretty good engine, but they're going to Unreal Engine 5 now to do the Witcher, the next Witcher game. I don't know if it's going to be called Witcher 4 or whatever, but they're going to be doing another, they're going to be doing another Witcher game under a different engine. Now, they lose 60% of their devs, of their staff. I guess it's the dev of the staff. I'll just put it like this. As of the 14th of April, 195 out of 320 CD Projekt Red devs that were on the Witcher 3 credits are no longer at the studio. That's crazy. And I may need to change that title. I'll just say, I'll just leave it at 60% aside, because that's the minimum. But a lot of the guys are gone. 19 of them unknown status. Let me change this. Right. I'm sorry. They'll hold your guys up. All right, let's put that up. There we go. 19 of them unknown status. 24 of 41 of main programmers are gone. 7 out of 8 of producers are gone. 23 of 35 game and level and quest designers are gone. 31 of 69 UI artists and animators are gone. 66 of 91 additional devs are gone. And 12 out of the 22 management are gone. Now, these are all people that were a part of CD Projekt Red's Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. That is insane to lose that many people. So what does this mean? I don't feel that. I ain't gonna say I don't feel. That's not a good thing. It's not a good thing at all. So I'm looking like, what's going to happen with The Witcher 4? I don't know. It may even turn out to be a really good game. It may turn out to be a really good game, but I just don't know. But after the whole debacle with Cyberpunk 2077, I'm wondering now what's going to happen with that game, because they're still talking about, still putting out DLC, but it may not come out till 2023. Nobody's going to care about that DLC at this point. They might well make that DLC, all that DLC, just free. They might well just make it free. I mean, you talking about a game that came out in 2020, at the end of 2020, in a very bad shape, in very bad shape, terrible shape. The games on the Xbox One and the PS4 runs runs super terrible. They've been trying to fix this game for over a year now, year and a half. It's gotten better. If you play this game on PC, you probably got a pretty decent to good experience. A lot of people sit here and say it was a great game on PC. I'm not going to say that, but it was a good experience. It wasn't too bad. I got it on PC. Somebody purchased it for me on the Xbox. I'm sorry, on the PS4 Pro. I didn't play. I just got a refund. Once I found out how bad it was, I got a refund. Appreciate the person who bought it for me, but I just got a refund. And I ended up buying it on PC, and I'm about, I still haven't finished the game. I'm about 40% in, because it's a okay game, but the world was just dead. Now they've done other updates and they've done other patches or whatever and stuff, or whatever the case may be. I went back to it. It's all right. The game's okay. It's not like one of these best open world games in the world. I mean, GTA 5 is still light years better than this game. But I'm like, when you lose people who've been around 10, 18, 17, 6, 12, 5 years, the people who've been there for so long, that were game directors, head of production, lead animator, art director, engine tech director. You lose all these people, and you have to flip everything around with a new engine, with new people. Like I said, I don't know if the next Witcher game is going to be good or not, because Witcher 3 was really good. But when you have that kind of a turnover and you changing, engines or whatever to create a game on a different, I'm not going to say it's going to be Cyberpunk 2077 bad, because they're going to take their time with this game. They've learned their lesson. They're going to take their time with the game, but when you look at stuff like this and you be like, all right, when you see something like you be like, all right, I'm gonna have a cause to pause. What the hell is going on here? So I'm just sitting back and I'm like, kind of like at a loss for words, because Cyberpunk 2077 could have been a great game. They could have they could have kept the reputation they had from Witcher 3, brought it over, even though Witcher 3 had some issues itself, but that's another story of another day. That game saved itself for how good it was. They could have easily jumped over and continued that with Cyberpunk 2077 if they just waited another year to put that game out. That's all they had to do. The suits, the top guys at CD Projekt Red came out and apologized. They did all this, that, and the third. Then they did no favors for themselves. The company did no favors for themselves when certain people that I think it was a developer or director saying that open world games aren't. So they said something to the effect that open world games don't need AI on point or police AI, something of that nature. It just didn't help matters. It didn't help matters at all. And I just feel at the end of the day, they shot themselves in the foot. And with all these people are leaving and have all this turnover with a new game coming in with a new engine, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with CD Projekt Red, because they struck gold with The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. They struck gold with that. And they didn't understand what they had because they got a little greedy. And it costed them. It costed them a lot. So I don't have anything else to say about that. I don't have anything else to say on this episode. If you like this content, hit the like button. Share this content. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I have more videos coming this way for you guys. I'm gonna actually talk about that in another video, probably later on this week. Along with, I may do a Nintendo Switch video about that. I really need to talk about Nintendo in general because this whole thing with the Switch is kind of weird. But nevertheless, um, I'm gonna have more content coming up for you guys as far as gameplay, because I know I do the football stuff, but I think I need to put more stuff on the channel with me playing other games as well. So be on the lookout for all that. I'm going to get up out of here. Thank you guys if you made it this far. I really appreciate it. Like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. We're marching towards 100 subscribers. It's kind of weird. Ain't only 100 subscribers? But hey, I think it's a big deal. I think it's a big deal because you guys make it happen. I really, really appreciate it. All right, y'all. I'll see you guys on the next one. You guys take it easy. You guys be blessed. Peace.